another
We'll
one.
have to mention that. Okay. Will he be able to make that live as we're?
Yeah, it's an item on the agenda.
Is there any way to put the agenda on that screen so you don't have to,
I can ask.
that one might almost be visible. You could-
Save paper EAC.
Yeah, thank you.
Can you move that screen closer? It's on wheels.
I'm not touching it.
I wouldn't either. There's a maze of cords and
Is that what, that one
touching
there? They're all kind of like,
We can't move anything. We are live. Okay. I will call the Environmental Advisory Council for the City of Erie to order. We will go through roll call. Matt Puz is absent because he can't find his car keys. We miss you, Matt. So as Vice Chair, Sam Mason is here and taking over the chair duties, regrettably. Mike Campbell.
present.
Aaron Carey is absent. Sister Pat is absent. Bob Howden.
Here.
Freda Tepfer.
here.
Okay. Associate members, Molly Tarvin. Jenna Walmsley is not here. Sarah Wedekin. And Jackie Sprague. Cooper Moore. And Sarah Peelman. Yay.
Was Aaron, did we know Aaron wasn't coming or?
I did not know, and maybe she'll show up late. I've not received a notification. Do we need to make any amendments to the agenda?
Yes, I'd like to make one amendment to the agenda. The dark sky presentation, we're going to hold on that.
Okay.
We are still putting a few things together and we just haven't completed it. So we would like to present that to you in January. So please omit that from the agenda.
From the agenda.
Yes.
Does anybody have any issues with this? Do we have to make a motion? Do we have a motion to amend the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you both. And vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Any opposed? Abstain? Okay. I'm trying to be more focused now. Approval of the September 2025 meeting minutes. Did everybody have a chance to review those? Do we need to make any amendments to them? Can I have a motion to approve the September meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second? Can I second? Okay. Yeah. That would be helpful. Thank you, Freda. So we have a second. All in favor of approving the September 2025 meeting minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? They are passed. Thank you. Introduction of visitors. We have a visitor. Would you like to come to the podium and introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Lori Ratter-Spicer. I will be Chief of Staff for our incoming Mayor-elect, Daria Devlin. So this is my first council meeting to get to attend. I'm really happy to be here with you all, and thank you for your service.
Thank you so much. And Mr. Mayor, would you like to introduce yourself as well?
Very happy to be here with all of you, and Joe Schember, Mayor of Erie. I enjoy what I'm doing, and thanks for everything you guys have been doing, too.
Thank you.
Just thanking you, Mayor, for always attending our meetings and supporting the EAC too. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Do we have anybody who wants to make a public comment? Seeing none, we will move on. Subcommittees, single-use plastic ban ordinance. So we are continuing to meet. Actually, we skipped one, but we met last week. We skipped the October meeting because I was sick. And then we held our meeting in November. Committee members have been going around and talking with pertinent community members, largely people within the food service industries, government, hospitals, higher education, so various pertinent groups, and collecting data. And our intention is to compile that data, to have all of our interviews done by, say, mid-January, to compile that data into a report. And then we would start kind of sharing that information out. At some point, I'd like to do a public presentation to the city council, but I think there's steps to be involved beforehand. So we're looking at like February-ish would be kind of when we would bring that forward, I think, if that sounds good. Are there any questions about that? Largely, it's been very positive experience, a lot of people interested in the proposal, not a lot of opposition concerns, but I think all very kind of approachable kind of concerns. So we will continue to move that along. And then we will not be doing the dark sky. That was a change.
I'm a member of the subcommittee, and irrespective of the agenda item about an ordinance, I did have some comments to offer. The committee is not just dark sky focused, we're also bird-friendly glass focused as well. And that's one of the things we have been working on along with the Erie Bird Observatory, trying to work specific. So far, we have the most luck communicating with Drew Whiting about the atrium they're going to build, that they might be able to incorporate something into that. But I do want to mention, when it comes to sky or dark and visibility, as a person with a sensitivity to visual stimuli, we did pass an ordinance around LED reader boards several years ago, the city did, but it doesn't address video screens or other flashing lights in stores and other places. And there's a lot of us out there with visual sensitivities to whom these and it is part of the human environment, that it is a problem, and I don't know if there's any way that can be dovetailed into what you're doing, but I would mention that.
I think the dark sky initiative, I think what we've talked about in the planning department is that, right, there are different facets to that, what we can focus on, not just bird safety and glass, but other things, light pollution, signage, right? So our presentation is also for the public, not just for EAC, is to understand what it is specifically that the dark sky initiative could be about. So I think we are cognizant of that, and I thank you for mentioning it. Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments, questions, concerns under this heading? Okay. Moving on to old business, LCAP updates.
And Sarah, you can chime in here too. So as you know, over the last couple of months, we have had some challenges with obtaining city funds to, city ARP funds to go after a consultant to help us create this local climate action plan. That being said, I have included it in my budget for next year. And as I've talked with Sarah, it might be possible that we could still use ARP funds to help pay for a consultant to develop the plan. But as for right now, I have included that as part of my grant, whether it's a match or it's funding it fully, depending on cost. It's in the planning department budget. I have my budget meeting tomorrow, so we'll see how that goes, but it's not forgotten. We're still keeping that as top of the priority, a priority for us. And so I just to give you an update on where we are with the LCAP.
So I'm aware that the city did some kind of moving of money around where they took the ARP money and they put big wads of it into something like income replacement or something like that so that they could use it later on with a different time frame. So just want to make sure that, that's a factor that you're aware of.
That was all taken care of.
Yeah.
The issue wasn't whether or not we had ARP money, it was whether or not we could get approval to spend that money on the plan.
It was
Some of the things that I saw that they were doing with those kinds of transfers were pretty dramatically different than the original intention. So I don't know why.
Our money stayed the same, it just moved from one account to the other.
I know. I'm still thinking, isn't there some money out there somewhere that could be captured?
Well, the money the transfer that you're speaking of was called revenue replacement.
Right.
And it really released the city from the timelines of ARP, of American Rescue Plan, the program. However, when the finance department got approval and went through all of that with council, the buckets remained the same and the framework didn't change. What Sarah's talking about is that Sarah has a
the
pot
tree
of money specifically for trees, and we were requesting that money, that a portion of the 300,000 be used for the development of an LCAP, and was very much in line with trees is the first line of defense in terms of climate action. So that money is still there and will still be available moving into 2026. Whether or not we get approval of that is a different story.
So you're going to make another run at it.
So we as a safe space, as a safe option, I've also tried to include it into the budget in case we do not get approval again to use that.
So we're going to try again.
Yes, I'd like to.
Thanks for the clarification.
No problem.
Okay. Any other comments, questions, concerns with LCAP updates? Do you want to, then the Penn State LCAP, the operations inventory?
The students working on the local government operations inventory are doing really well. We finally were able to get them all their data sources, and so they're compiling them now. And we're hoping that they'll be ready to present their first initial findings to the EAC sometime in January, I believe, in addition to possibly other meetings. I don't know. Or were there other groups we were going to meet with?
We were going to first do it internally. I think we were going to
Yeah.
first start internally and then possibly make it public because it is city resources that they're focusing on. So we're going to have an internal discussion first on the data.
But I mean, a general summary could always be provided. I would think,
great.
but it's going well. We were concerned in the beginning because they were struggling to get some of the data, because some of the data, the city just doesn't collect it in the way they need it to be able to measure it. But we were able to come up with data that they could use.
And Sarah,
we were able to tease it out a little.
can you just give like a quick recap of what the project's about again, just so that everybody's familiar with what we're doing with the students?
Well, the original local climate action plan is a local climate action plan for the entire city.
Yes.
So it's citywide with all residential, business, commercial, and the city. And that was our original data gathering for greenhouse gas inventory, which we've done 2 separate years. So we have a lot of data, and that's why we're ready to take the final step and create a local climate action plan for the city of Erie. And that's what haven't been able to get approval to either obtain funding or spend the funding that we feel like we have. This local government operations inventory is in the same program as a local climate action plan, but instead of focusing on the entire city, it targets on just the city of Erie operations internally, like the city itself as a business.
Yeah.
So it's like our public works and our refuse department and our streets and our energy use, just the city as a business entity. And so it should provide delve a lot deeper into the nitty gritty of our energy uses and our transportation and areas where we're using the most energy and areas that have the greatest needs for improvement or potential improvement versus how much will it cost. So it's a good internal analysis of how we're spending our resources and what we're spending them on. So then we can look at them to see, well, where could we make improvements internally?
Yeah.
And once they complete the data analysis, which is going this semester, they'll be finished just shortly, then they're going to create a prioritization matrix and figure out what other deliverables we would like. So we haven't talked through that yet, but we also are aligning this with historic preservation because,
Which is very exciting.
yeah, because if there are buildings that are historic and that we can put onto the register, the National Register, there's tax credit availability there. There's also grant funding for construction through the Keystone state grants, and so we've asked the students to make that a specific alignment with historic preservation, which they are aware of. So it's very exciting, and the students are professionals, and they happen to be going back to school, so it's a whole different experience this time around. They are on top of it and really hopefully will help us, and we'll be able to be good stewards of our own resources and set an example, possibly more so than we already are.
So when something gets put on the historic register, are there impediments? I mean, I think it's good to have historical buildings, and I think it's good to have modifications to improve energy use. But when you put something on the historical register, are there more impediments to making
An alteration or a modification? The answer is no. There is no impediment at the national level.
Great.
So that would give us additional funding to help if we have a historic property that also happens to be energy guzzling because they didn't, do, I mean, because, there were different codes, right? And different
Right.
insulation and things back then, but
Right.
that would allow us then to put in better windows and better insulation and get us,
And much
access
of
to
our
funding.
infrastructure is most likely historic, so it makes a lot of sense to use that as part of the funding stream.
Yeah.
Is that also for, like, PACA is on the historic register, and they're doing can they get help with that too?
Yes, but they're not a city resource.
Right.
So, but yes, they can utilize that same type of tax credit.
Any questions, comments? We will move on then to new business.
I have a real quick one.
Yeah.
When considering historic preservation, can that include parks in addition to buildings?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And cultural assets, for that matter.
All right.
I'm pushing for trees, my old trees.
All right.
you might-
I'm thinking of some structures in Glenwood Park that are of great historical importance, where you might be able to even put in some sort of a micro turbine to generate electricity.
Yeah. Yes, that is, I believe that's under consideration.
Neat.
I think I know what you're talking about. But yes, parks, absolutely. In fact, part of our budget is a multi-grant, part of the planning department, the budget for next year, we have some grant match funding for a multi-site park designation. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that would be cool.
What level of government who's issuing grants?
DCNR, this is,
The
well,
state.
well, DCNR and also, well, that would be through DCNR.
Yeah, state money.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
state money.
Pennsylvania
Right.
Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. That's where Sarah works.
Yeah. Yes.
Maybe that's why there's DCNR grants under new business. But we will first move on to community energy legislation, which is under new business, but is a conversation that we started last time. Yes?
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. I wasn't criticizing. I was just
No, you're right,
reminding
though.
people that the last time we met, Justin Mason came to visit and advocate for us passing a motion in support of House Bill number 504, which is currently on the screen. We decided as a group to take time to look at the House bill, consider it before deciding if we wanted to move forward. So any conversations that we want to have in the 5 or 6 weeks we've had since Justin Mason was here about House Bill 504.
I looked at it, not extensively. I didn't read every word of it, but my sense was it looks like a really good idea, and I would be in support of encouraging council to consider what was suggested to do with it, so.
I concur. I looked at it over the same way. It looks like a pretty good idea to me also.
So where is this bill? Because I'm seeing that the House did pass a bill in May. Is this a different bill, or is this the same bill trying to get it through the Senate?
I think the bill's going, I think it's been referred to the Senate.
Yes.
Okay, so this
This
is the same bill that the House passed, the Community Energy Act?
Yes, correct. Yes.
So one thing I mean, the last thing we can do is change anything, right? We either have to support it or not. I can hear Andre Horton say, is there community benefit agreements in here? Is there provision for community benefit agreements? And I don't think I saw that. And I don't know enough about this to understand what it means, what the limits on this and the limits on that. But looking at the sponsors and stuff, I guess I have to assume it's pretty well I'm just concerned that any of us who who have either an electric or a natural gas bill get innumerable opportunities to join some kind of other distribution system. So I want to make sure that this is truly a benevolent bill. And I don't
My
know.
sense was that was definitely included.
Well, I don't subscribe to any of those groups because they promise great rates for the short term and then you're stuck with them. But I just wondered if there's anybody else who's more familiar with the particulars of this, other than that it did pass the House already, we're just dealing with the Senate.
I think with regard to community benefit statements, which you brought up at the last meeting, so, I mean, you could go back and watch the YouTube of that meeting, but I'm pretty sure that Justin suggested that this bill is kind of above that level. It's not, I mean, community benefit is once a company is coming in and is proposing something, that's when the community benefit. This is a statewide, so you can't have a community benefit that would be attached to this bill because it's a statewide thing. It's not about a particular, and this is setting up a structure that would allow for additional means to produce energy. And then the questions that you're asking are at a lower level than what this bill is kind of stationed at. This is a statewide policy change.
So So there's a good question. So is there anything, I can't think of that word, that we're not allowed to do things because it's regulated at a higher level? So is there anything in this bill that takes away our local autonomy? What's the preemption? Is there preemption in this that will prevent us from doing things locally?
I don't know the answer to that question, but my understanding of the bill is for like, if you wanted to put, let's say if you want to put solar panels on your house,
That's,
you can if you own your house, but if you rent, you can't. So this is creating a solar area somewhere else that generates the energy that you can subscribe to, so you can get those energy reductions even though the solar panels aren't on the house that you're living
Right.
in. And so I'm not exactly sure what your question is in regard to that, but it's to help low-income people and renters and people who don't have space for solar panels on their individual property or who don't own their property to still benefit on their electric bills by getting energy from cleaner energy generation.
right.
Yeah, it's almost the opposite of a preemptive, because it's allowing additional
Yeah,
access within the network.
right. Where right now, unless you own your own property and have space for solar panels, you can't get solar power. So it's creating another way for people to have solar.
So what are we being asked to do?
My-
I mean, because Jasmine asked us to put it on the agenda, right?
Was it to write a letter of support?
I think, yeah, I was going to say, I think Justin requested that the Environmental Advisory Council write a letter in support of the House bill to, and I don't think
To
it
the
was
Senate?
I don't think it was to the, I don't think it was asking I think it was us providing a letter of support as the Environmental Advisory Council.
To whomever.
I think he was asking us to urge city council
Council to-
to write a letter in support of it.
Okay,
I think that's what he was asking us to do.
okay.
So is it clear how, it seems like I brought up something about a month or two ago, and I was told it wasn't part of our mission. So do we have a clear understanding of when this is or isn't part of our mission, to bring these things up?
I think that's Bob's point. It's that it's not us writing the letter, it's us
Right.
making a recommendation to the city council to write a letter.
Since we're
And that's
since
our
we're an
role.
advisory board, I think the only thing we can do is encourage
Advise.
the city council or advise the city council that we think this is a good idea and that they should write a letter in support of it. And I don't know who they would write the letter to, whether it's Senator Laughlin or whoever.
Yeah,
I think he provided some examples of what other cities had provided in terms of support
That's right.
statements, yeah.
yeah.
And he was looking for Erie to do that, too.
So basically, we are being asked to advise the city council to write a letter in support of, and Jasmine has a copy of kind of that language, and it's just a matter of whether or not we as a council make that recommendation to the city council. Are we all in agreement? Okay. So do we have, is there additional conversations that need to happen? Do I have a motion for us to, based on our conversation?
I'd make a motion to recommend to city council that they do what they can to provide support for this.
Do I have a second?
I will second that.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? I think we passed.
So passed. I wanted to ask, I think it might be best to reach out first to Jasmine regarding the support, and then would you want to have a resolution on agenda asking for support. That's typically how we would do things. We could have a resolution placed on agenda, and even if you wanted to, you could do a small presentation. Someone, or I could do it, or, maybe best to come from the EAC, but make a small presentation at a council meeting, and then have that on agenda for a resolution in support of the House bill.
Okay.
That would be a bit more formal,
Okay.
and but I would suggest that we first speak with Jasmine and let her know, if she's not watching already, that the EAC is in support of it, so then she can.
And I'm assuming it wouldn't go on the agenda for tonight's
No,
presentation. So
no,
this would
no.
be.
Can't do that.
I was joking.
Yeah, not this. So November 19th is, and then the next date is, what is it, the 4th? No, is that right?
Would it? Yeah, that's what I was asking. Is do
Yes.
we have time to get
We do.
onto
Yeah.
the agenda for the next one?
Yeah,
That's the 7:30 in the morning, 8:30 in the morning meeting.
yeah, I can check. I know there's a kind of accelerated deadline because of all the holidays.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't go on for this one, then it would probably be for the
Fourth.
in 2 weeks, then it would be after the first of the year.
Okay, because there's no more after.
I don't think so.
Cooper is
Third.
December 3rd.
Yeah. And I think tomorrow actually is the deadline. I feel like it was sent out. Wasn't there something sent out that
For the
is?
agenda?
Yeah.
The agenda meeting's the week before the council meeting, and what you want on the agenda meeting has to be the week before that. So
Right.
you have to have it 2 weeks ahead of time.
But we'll be fine. We'll be fine. It has to be in by Tuesday, the Tuesday before the meeting. So it's next
Two
Tuesday
Tuesdays.
by 4, has to be on agenda,
Okay.
requested. So we would we would do a resolution. We could potentially do a small presentation.
Okay.
Yeah.
If it's December 3rd, is that at 8:30 in the
Yes.
Well,
morning?
9. Is it, caucus is at
Caucus is 8:30,
8:30.
9 o'clock, the meeting
You
starts.
probably,
I-
the person would probably want to be at the caucus.
Right, so we can put this out on email, but I cannot be there. We can ask if Matt is available, but Mike or Bob, are either one of you available? Well, we can put it out on email
Yeah, I'd
and
say
find out.
if Matt can't do it, I
You can?
don't mind. Yeah.
Okay. The joys of retirement.
Although, I might have just scheduled a dermatology appointment.
Okay, well, I
now
see.
hitting
I
me.
have to wash my
Yeah.
hair too, Mike.
Right.
No, but those are very hard to get in here.
Oh,
Yeah, no,
yeah, you're right.
absolutely.
This is like the third time I tried
Yeah,
to schedule
no,
this one.
no worries. We can
We'll send an
figure out
email.
exactly in
Yeah.
email who's
We'll
going to be
send
there.
an email out,
Yeah.
and also, I am happy to,
Do you have a copy? I have a copy of Jasmine's email that she has sent out, and it looks like what she's asking us to do, and I don't have my glasses on, so I'm struggling a
Well,
little
you have
bit
somebody
here.
next to you who has
But it
glasses.
says that that the council is willing to back this resolution that, what's his name? Jason?
Justin.
Justin gave us if the Environmental Advisory Council supports it.
Which I think is the resolution. That's what
Right.
we were just saying.
Is
So
that what you're
basically, we
talking
did
about?
pass that we're in support of it, and so that's just the formal resolution stating as
I'll
much.
email her. I'll talk with her and find out exactly. Maybe it was already on council's agenda, but I don't think so. Like, maybe then a resolution was already placed
No,
on
we
agenda?
Justin gave us an example
Oh, I see.
version.
Okay,
And so
okay.
basically, what we just did was say that, yes, we support, and that resolution is just language of what that would look like.
Yeah, I don't think according to her email, Justin sent it to the city council back in August.
In August, okay.
So, but it doesn't sound like the city council has acted on it, that they're sort of waiting for us to see whether we would support it
Okay.
Yeah.
or
Okay.
whether we think they should support it.
So I'll speak with Jasmine, and then I will email all of you and see what she suggests in terms of presentation, resolution, and that kind of thing. But I'm assuming that we would have to put a resolution on in order to have council all be in favor of it. So, because they need to review it and be aware of it, and,
Right.
you know.
and
So where would the letter, would it go to Senator Laughlin, or where would the letter go?
Our letter would go to council.
But council's letter?
That I don't know.
That's up to
We
them.
can ask Justin that question, yeah. I'll work through all that and then get back with you all about
Yeah,
it.
there's probably a relevant committee in the Senate.
Okay. Good,
Are we good?
yeah.
Okay. DCNR grants.
Yeah. So, as you may know, we are in the midst of our tree inventory, and I think they have 2 or 3 more weeks left here in Erie. I know Sarah met with the consultants, and we've been meeting bi-weekly with them virtually, but Sarah had an in-person meeting with them just recently.
Last week.
And they're about, did they send a new one this week? I don't know if they're like about 10,000 trees in or something like that. But our contract is for over 18,000 trees, and so they're moving very quickly through the city of Erie. That being said, we have had a lot of conversations with DCNR, PA Western Conservancy, regarding funding for tree plantings, pruning that is now allowable through funding, and removals. And we are actively working through how we're going to quickly implement and apply for some of this funding. So that was one part of the DCNR grants that I wanted to discuss. We've gone over a few others. I mentioned to you about the multi-park listing for the National Historic Registry, and then we have an acquisition grant that we're looking at, sorry.
It's pretty exciting, though, that DCNR allows pruning, because the one thing the city has never done is been able to prune any of the trees in the right-of-way. We push that maintenance onto the property owner to maintain all the trees, and even when we do remove dead or dying trees, it's a courtesy. That, too, is the responsibility of the property owner in the city of Erie. So this new grant allowing pruning is very, very significant opportunity for the city of Erie. And the majority of the recommendations in the preliminary reports are for pruning.
So they've been inventorying the right-of-way as well as,
It's only right-of-ways right now.
right-of-way.
oh, not parks.
Not yet.
Oh,
Once we
oh,
get
it's-
through our,
It's the right-of-ways of the parks,
Yeah.
but not the internal portions of
Yes.
the
But
parks.
not neighborhoods.
no, the whole city of
The
Erie.
whole city.
And
So-
so.
All
and
the
we-
right-of-ways along 320 street miles.
Right.
Goody.
And we prioritized areas based on equity, tree canopy, lack of tree canopy, and areas that typically have been overlooked or disadvantaged areas. So that was priority that we placed first for the consultants. We had 4 priority areas. They started with the ones most in need and worked their way out. They are, I would say, about
1 and 2 are complete priority
one-
areas,
and some
they're
of 3
into
and 4.
3s.
Yeah,
I don't know if they started 4 yet, but
I was just wondering if there's an opportunity. There's some areas like near Liberty in the 30s, that west of Liberty, that has got lots of Bradford pears. And I understand it's a whimsical thing, but they're encouraging the best pruning of a Bradford pear is to cut it off at the base. And, but I just wondered if there's any opportunity to actually do replacement of Bradford pears.
well, this project is just to inventory all the
Right,
trees.
but
So
you mentioned
obtaining most grant programs don't provide funding to cut trees down. It's usually to plant new ones, and now they're allowing for pruning.
Yeah.
So as the Bradford pears decline from their natural, what is, besides being invasive, they have weak branch structure. So when, in storms, when a branch breaks, it tears out a huge chunk of the trunk of the tree, and then the tree is compromised and it has to be cut down. So, they are being removed as needed, And private homeowners could be encouraged to cut down their own trees since they're invasive and replant native trees, which some citizens do. But I don't think I'm not aware of funding to cut them down just because they're not
Invasive.
native. Yeah, because they're invasive.
But I don't know, Cooper, you have some of the reporting up. If you want to explain what the report shows, because each week we get a full document of their inventory.
Yeah, and this will all be publicly available at the end of the survey, but the most recent one we got last week,
Oh, tree of heaven.
they have surveyed 9,052 trees, 9,052 trees or stumps or vacant sites, 8,024 trees, 320 stumps, and 708 vacant sites. Most of the east side of the city has been surveyed, as well as kind of the Little Italy, kind of 24th Street area, all the way across. We get a summary of the species. They've identified 185 distinct species so far. The most common is Norway maple, and then red maples. And together, those are about 25% of all the trees they found so far. We get a diameter at breast height. We get a height range, a crown range. We get the general condition of every tree, good, fair, poor condition, dead, or a stump. Probably not surprising, but the vast majority of our trees are in fair condition. They do recommend maintenance for every single tree, from priority prunes
Every single one.
all the way down to stump removal or plant a tree here. And then we also get at the very end a list of the most immediate priority trees that need to be addressed as soon as possible.
Which is great. I mean, that I know that's really important to have that list, that priority list. But we've also been talking with DCNR and PA Western Conservancy about developing, after the survey's done, a maintenance and sustainability plan as well, that I think we could do most likely with the help of those two entities pretty much in-house afterwards. So it's really fascinating, and it's also a little disheartening because our tree canopy is, we don't have an urban forest at this, I mean,
A healthy urban forest.
healthy, I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah,
I know
they've
it hurts you
inventoried
there.
over half the city and there's only 9,000 trees.
Yeah.
That's super depressing.
It is. So we have a lot of work to do, but there is.
Because if
there's-
every house had only one tree, if we had 40,000 households, that'd be 40,000
Right.
trees. So we only have not, you know what I mean? So I'm hoping they'll find more, but it's still, that's not that, for the areas they did inventory, that's really low.
But
And so
this-
it really
this isn't-
points out our priority of where we need to focus.
And it will allow us to use the inventory, hopefully, to receive funding for plantings. So it's both disheartening and encouraging all at the same time, and we are working through those opportunities that we have right now.
And the plan is important because right now, we're only planting trees if property owners want a tree, because then they'll take care of the tree. But huge sections of the city are rental properties. The landlords typically don't want trees because they see them as an expense. So now, over half the city doesn't have enough trees. So should that continue to be our policy? Do you have better enforcement requiring property owners to help maintain them? Do we need to have more discouraging policies to prevent people from harming trees? Because a lot of trees die from weed trimmers and lawnmowers hitting them and people tearing off their branches, cars running them over. I mean, so it brings into question a lot of things that we'll need to consider. And so the inventory is just the first step. Completing the plan is still what needs to be done to evaluate all of this and come up with priorities and policy recommendations.
And partnerships, I'm just thinking, as you're talking about caring for these trees, everything that Groundwork Erie is doing and can do with, let's make use of our young teenage.
And some of it's just a lack of education. I mean, some homeowners don't realize they're hurting their tree. When they go out there and using the weed trimmers, they just think they're taking care of their property. They don't realize it's going to kill the tree because trees don't die from that for 5 to 10 years.
My neighbor didn't understand that she had too much mulch and what it was doing, but when I
Yeah.
showed it in an article, she actually cleaned it up.
Yeah, I mean, if trees screamed and fell over dead every time you did something wrong to them, people wouldn't do it as much. But they're really tough, they're really hardy, and they can take a lot of punishment. And so they, it's hard to have, it's a lack of education. But again, as you all know, as the arborist, that's only a third of my job responsibilities. And so it's very, like, the program really,
Thanks
if
for
we,
attention.
we really need to prioritize our urban forests in light of climate change and everything that's happening if we really want to make a difference in our community.
So I'm a homeowner, and I have, in my parking strip, tree lawn, whatever you want to call it, I have no trees, because I have no nothing, just grass, because between the snow plows and the need to water or whatever, and my neighbors wanting to park there, I just don't bother.
But you've
are
made up
you
for
saying-
it with trees in
Oh,
your
yeah,
yard,
I've made
Freda.
up for it. But are you, so you, I mean, you'd like to see people having trees grow in their tree lawn, or,
When there's room,
yeah.
I mean, when it's appropriate, you want to plant the right tree for the right spot. If you don't have if you don't have the
Enough room.
sizable enough room for a tree, then you can't plant a tree there.
Right.
So it just depends. That's why planting trees is such a time-consuming thing. You can't just say, I'm going to go plant 50 trees and just put down 50 addresses and plant them. You have to inspect every single site. And you have to look at things for like the water lines, the sewer lines, the fire hydrants, where they park the driveway, where they set the garbage, where they people wait for the bus. I mean, there's just so many things that go into considering every single site. Even just driving by in a car doesn't give you an accurate assessment of where you could plant a tree and what variety. And so it's time consuming. But it's important work. But do we value that work? Then we need to put our money where, you know what I mean, our mouth is.
And just one last thing about trees. The Urban Forest Committee is also looking at revising their ordinance right now. And I just was presenting the parks plan and the tree inventory to them. And we are going to be working with them to help with their urban forest ordinance or shade tree ordinance, and hopefully implement that in the subdivision and land development ordinance, so that as we're reviewing land developments, there's also an urban forest ordinance that are regulated as well. So, I mean, there's a lot of things kind of coming together, but just wanted to keep you informed. I mean, I know it's not necessarily our focus and our priority, but it is, because it's all one and the same.
Yeah,
It's all
100%.
connected. Yeah.
It's all connected.
I'll add something about the trees as well, if I may.
Yeah.
At Mercyhurst, we just planted our part of the DCNR grant.
Yes,
and
Mercyhurst
we,
is a partner, correct?
Yes, we just did 112 trees hand planted, and we're waiting on our last 40 bald and burlapped evergreens. But we just wanted to extend our thanks to the city for including us on that grant. It has made such a difference. If you guys have been to Mercyhurst since the trees, they were just planted last Saturday, but it looks remarkable. And we have increased our native tree percentage by 39% with just that grant.
Wow,
alone.
that is
So,
awesome,
yes,
Molly.
thank you.
Great.
Yeah, and Mercyhurst is one of our many partners on the Watershed and Forestry DCNR grant that we are almost complete with by the end of this year. So yay that you are setting the bar. LEAF is involved in that, as well as groundwork. City of Erie is doing plantings as we speak.
The Borough of Northeast.
And the Borough of Northeast, yep. So,
one besides the Norway maples and the Bradford pears, which are invasives, the other big one is the tree of heaven, which it's a good thing and a bad. They don't grow they're not in the right of ways. They're not they're everywhere, but they're not in the right of ways. So there wouldn't be some kind of way to get rid of them, help people get rid of them because they're not in the right of
city
way.
property.
They're in some of our parks, though, so
Yeah.
we try to cut them down. And when I met with the gentleman from Arbor Pro, I gave him a hard time about what they were inventorying, and I was like, oh yeah, well, we have 6 Osage orange trees in the city. Did you get any of them in your inventory? And he did. So like I was like asking them really rare species if he found them, and they did. And so they're doing really good, accurate. I'm really confident in their results. Like I was really double checking to see if they really knew their trees. And
Good
they
job.
seemed to. I was excited about it.
Good job. Any other DCNR grants that you wanted to make us aware of? Okay.
Thanks.
Next on our agenda is the dark sky ordinance. Is this what we took off?
Yes.
Okay. So this is, okay, I misunderstood. Under other business, sustainability coordinator updates.
Yeah, a lot of the projects we already went over. Also coming up, our annual 904 recycling grant is going to be due, and so that's where we report all the recyclables that were recycled during the previous year, 2024. And so, and those are for our residential numbers and commercial numbers that are reported to me. So that is coming up. And I also just finished a coastal zone grant where I purchased a whole bunch of stormwater educational supplies and have materials, and we did workshops with that grant, but I still have a lot of resources left over. So in the upcoming year, we have a lot of opportunities to do stormwater education at different events. We have funnels to make it easier to recycle your motor oil. And there's funnels. We have some buckets for transporting your motor oil to the recycling centers, and a few oil pans that you can drain the oil right into the oil pan and then take that to the store to recycle your oil, motor oil. Yeah, along with along with a brochure explaining why you don't want to pour motor oil like down your storm drains, and that the waterways go to our creeks and all that sort of thing. And then all the places that do accept motor oil for recycling. And a lot of places that take motor oil used to also take antifreeze for recycling, but for some reason they don't. It's mostly just motor oil, so I'm not sure why they're not recycling antifreeze anymore. But that is also an exciting project that I hope will continue.
Do you have any kind of handle on how much wish recycling goes on? You know, where people are putting in, I walk my neighborhood, and the stuff I see in those clear bags, a lot of it's not.
In the survey that Sam Mason and her did with one of her projects, the city pulled bags from houses randomly throughout a week on an average week for recycling, and then we totaled them all up and counted how many were actually able to be recycled versus how many weren't. And I was hoping that number would be at least in the 60 or 70, 80%, but it was only like 35% of the bags of recyclables actually were able to be recycled.
I mean, if
a
they
lot
see
of them
anything,
still
they
had
don't take
pizza
them.
boxes in them. A lot of them had grocery store bags, which are recyclable at the grocery store as source separated, but they're not able to be put in a commingled program.
Yogurt
And
tubs.
so our just very, very small sample was only 35% of the recyclables.
And they
are
won't take
actually-
those bags at all, right? They're not
They
supposed
throw
to.
them in the garbage. I mean, Waste Management pulls them off and sends them to the landfill instead, because they don't have the ability to sort those materials. So that's what they say. And so it's also depressing because we are actually paying around $55 or $56, $58 a ton to dispose of refuse, but we're paying something like $122 a ton for recyclables, which is absolutely crazy, because we're not really able to recycle our recyclables, and they're trying to discourage recycling basically because their claim is it's not working. And so we're being penalized by being charged almost 2.5 times the amount rate. But hopefully that'll change in the future.
I don't think anybody's ever heard that. I mean, I see my garbage bill go up because of the recycling bill and whatever. But I don't think the average person who's putting the pizza boxes in the plastic bags knows that they're making everybody's bills more expensive.
Well, recycling is a challenge because it's almost like, I mean, I don't really know how to word it in a way that's always politically correct, but it's almost like recycling is for people who are educated and privileged because they understand the impact of what's happening and they have the time and the resources to be able to do the right thing. But a lot of people in low income neighborhoods or families with little money, they're almost in survival mode. Like they're worried, how am I going to buy enough groceries to feed the kids? Winter's coming, how are we going to get winter boots? How are we going to get a winter coat? How are we going to get, whatever we need? How are we going to pay the electric bill this month when we have to pay the gas bills going up? And so they're not thinking, well, gee, is this cup a 1 or a 2? Or is it a 4 or a 5? Like it's a whole different level of thinking about your habits in your household. And so I'm not really sure how to solve that problem because until people's basic needs are easier to be met, they can't go into the secondary and tertiary and tertiary need of what the community is. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think the
So
people
it's a challenge.
in my neighborhood are that stressed. I think they're just lazy, personally. But
Perhaps, I don't know. I mean, every person's different, but a lot of it, again, comes down to education. The average homeowner doesn't really know for sure what's recyclable, and they don't really understand the importance of why does it matter so much. I mean, I'm the recycling coordinator, the sustainability coordinator for the city of Erie. I have been for 21 years. I go to my mom's house, they throw aluminum cans in the garbage. I can't even handle it. Like I'm pulling the stuff out of their garbage and taking it home to my house every time I go there. Who throws aluminum cans in the garbage? Everybody knows aluminum's worth money. I can't, it boggles my mind.
Every house needs a recycling policeman. I'm the policeman in my house. I'm the one removing the caps from the plastic
I don't know
bottles
which paper is recyclable.
It's so challenging. Recycling, and then the city does it different than the county, and then the county will be like, people come up, well, I saw the county's TV commercial, and it says we can do this and do that, and I'm like, oh. But the city's not the county. And so then, what is Harbor Creek doing? What is Mill Creek doing? There's just so much. If we had a statewide policy, it would be way easier, and if the program was more supported, there's just so many challenges with it being up to every single individual municipality. It's very, very difficult.
Maybe we need some cute commercials and some kind of contest to make them or something.
And
There's always room for improvement, as Mike Campbell told me as my college professor many, many years ago. There's always room for improvement.
I think we need
Okay.
divine help with recycling.
I think a statewide policy would be great, and Governor Shapiro, I am offering my services to serve in that role. I made it originally to President Biden, but he's, so I'll go to the state level, since he didn't take me up on my offer. In the interest of time, we should move on. Department of Planning and Neighborhood Resources updates.
I don't have anything further. I think I've talked a lot. Unless you have questions for me about any of the project.
I didn't need to do that. Okay.
Unless you have any questions regarding the parks plan or anything else.
What's happening, is the deadline passed to comment on that?
For the parks plan, the survey's closed, but we are certainly in the engagement piece of it still. We've been meeting with stakeholders. We plan to meet with the youth still. We're for the next probably two months, we're going to still be doing a lot of engagement.
I haven't seen any opportunities for someone in my category to be engaged.
Is the interactive map still available for people?
Yes, that
You
is.
should check that out,
That
Freda.
is-
It's really
There's a
cool.
wiki map?
Yeah.
The interactive map is still up. We've been at different neighborhood meetings and neighborhood watch meetings
Yeah,
that
we
were
don't have
listed.
one.
You don't have one, okay.
But we are the Baldwin Park neighborhood on next door, but
Yeah.
we're on the city's map, but.
Well, if you, Freda, would like to organize something, we can do that, maybe with, if you don't
we have
have
the park,
representation in your area, but we can certainly still talk through that.
Okay.
But we have been meeting with, we had a whole series of stakeholder meetings, and we're going to follow up with them also. So we're not done with engagement yet.
Maybe the church would let us have a meeting there.
Okay.
Cooper put the interactive map up.
Oh, yeah,
And I
thanks,
think it's an
Cooper.
excellent way to provide specific input personally. So
Yeah.
you should check that out.
It's on our website, on the city's website, underneath the planning and neighborhood resources. It says Erie Outside.
And you can place a flag to
Yep.
make a
Yeah.
comment or a concern
Right.
or a compliment.
Or a compliment.
And you added a link under parks too, in case people look under parks instead.
You can simply go to www.erieoutside.com.
Wow.
erieoutside.com, yeah.
ErieOutside.com. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's exciting. It has its own website.
Well, it's on the-
Before the officers kick us out for safety reasons, no, do we have any additional, there's nothing else on the agenda. So do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
And all in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you all for being here.